Good news for the HYCC. The school committee sets goals and a request for conservation land on this episode of Barnstable Today. It's Thursday, April 26th, 2012. I'm Sarah Colvin. Thanks to the sale of more than 12,000 cups of coffee and chill zone beverages, the Hyannis Youth and Community Center has met and exceeded its goal through its fundraising partnership with Cumberland Farms. For the past 4 weeks, the Cumberland Farms, located at the intersection of Burses Way and Route 132, has donated 20 cents from each coffee and chill zone beverage sold to the HYCC's Youth Scholarship Fund. The original goal was $1,000. The final total from the 4-week fundraiser, $2,412. The Barnstable School Committee held a special workshop session this week to discuss its goals and objectives moving forward. One goal outlined was a way in which to improve communication.
Other item that I want to bring up for discussion, and I think we mentioned it previously, would be some language around the recruitment, retention, and engagement goal that the superintendent has laid out, and it would be something like that we work to engage the community and students, engage the community in order to recruit and retain students. Some language like that. I don't quite have the language there. But I do believe where we are over the next 3 years, this goal could go away in 3 years if we've maintained it, but if we've sort of changed some of the demographics around. But I do think it's something that we need to keep a focus on as a district and, in fact, as a region. Does anybody have any reaction to that? Whether or not it's that thought, that idea, is worthy of being one of our 5/6 goals?
I added community engagement also.
Okay.
But with the idea of interaction, I mean, I think they all would tie together, but communication.
Yep.
And getting the community invested into the schools, which I think would tie in with the attracting and retaining
recruiting
students
and retention
as well.
engagement.
But just as like the big bubbles there.
So, anyone else?
I definitely agree with both of you, and I think that we need to maybe somewhere in that language and describing it, coming up with fine-tuning the words, is that we need to basically promote and inform the community what we're doing. Because we've been doing a great job with trying to bring some of the students here and so forth, but somehow we have to get it out to the community, the amazing things that are happening in the school buildings.
Also discussed student safety and the role of school officials.
And I don't even know if this falls under, but advance the safety and security of our students. Pat, you had sent out an email a couple weeks ago when the church had burned down, and there was kids, some of our students were being fed there and whatnot. I found it, like a hit on the head, like, oh my God, you don't even realize what's really going on.
Right.
From a safety and security of our students, I know we don't have a responsibility, but should we have something in there about proper, let me back up a second. You were concerned, do we need to get involved? Are these kids getting fed or?
I think what's coming, thank you for bringing this up, because those words are just kind of generic words, but what do they really mean? And schools, believe it or not, have our responsibility to students extends outside the boundaries of the school buildings, whether it's with bullying policies and in social media, whether it's anything to do with kind of chins or abusive situations. And teachers deal with this every single day, schools deal with this every single day. If a child isn't being nourished or doesn't have the right clothes, we have whether volunteers or teachers or social service staff are involved in that. So that, I agree with you 100%. I think that one of the things from that objective that we will be in, one of the objectives underneath that goal that would be very important is to begin to spell out the range of responsibility that schools legally have, and because of who our teachers are and who our staff are, morally and ethically feel obliged to follow up on. So beginning to spell out what those objectives are in clear fashion, I think would be extremely helpful, because guess what? Everybody thinks, well, my children show up in kindergarten and they leave at 12th grade, and that's all that schools do. Well, guess what? 3 to 22, no one knows that. And it's in so many situations, the school year extends way beyond the doors of the school. So spelling that out, I think, would be extremely important as objectives.
And I start to think about, in addition to what, we've obviously the bullying plan, the bullying intervention plan, the CHINs, the SOS, signs of suicide that we do. Most recently, we're running some after-school programs. Maria and I had a chance to go and visit those after-school programs for kids that don't have the structure at home after school to be able to do their homework or the assistance. And so we're running some programs at the Hyannis Youth Center.
The school committee outlined 7 goals as part of its strategic plan for the coming years. You can view that entire meeting online at town.barnstable.ma.us. Meanwhile, the Conservation Commission is hoping to increase the amount of conservation land in town. Earlier this week, the commission met to discuss converting 35 acres of land. Conservation Administrator Rob Gatewood outlines the area.
And this is the largely wetland basin into which receives those tidal flows. So we always wanted, this is all green because it's conservation land or BLT land or BLT conservation restricted land. We've really got a great inholding of conservation, and then it goes out into the Great Marsh where we own, most of that, and great majority of that, and Sandy Neck. So in the middle of this inholding and in the heart of this restoration project, we've got this general municipal land. This big one of 32 acres and this one of 3 acres. This one's shaped like Texas a little bit here. And back when we did that project starting about in 2000, we asked the town to provide that land for conservation purposes. The town never found its way free to do it for whatever reason. I love the town. The town never did listen to us, and it's always stayed general municipal. So, we're back at the shooting range, and we're trying to build berms, the noise abatement berms at the shooting range. And we're working with the DPW in a really collegial way. They're dredging East Bay and Barnstable Inner Harbor. They want to bring the dredge spoil out to the shooting range and build the berms. And they remembered about this because the very same project manager that designed the range improvements, phase 1 through 4, is the very project manager from DPW, John Juros, that's in charge of the dredging.
The Conservation Commission voted to make a recommendation to the town manager's office to convert that parcel of land from municipal land to conservation land. With Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Colvin.